All right, this is Lucas McCarr's submission for video 1 for our first blog post. Today we'll be covering Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, or EC2 for short. So for a little introduction to EC2 here. The main functionality of EC2 is its virtual cloud hosting, which essentially means users can rent nearly an unlimited amount of virtual machines in order to best meet their needs. Now, this could range from an individual user with a small infrastructure to a large company needing to use a wide variety and scale of machines. And this essentially removes the need for physical infrastructure and the upfront costs that are associated with installing it. You don't really need to have your own hardware if you're running EC2, so it's a great way to save space. You don't need these facilities, and you're essentially using Amazon's hardware that they have in place across the world. EC2 is incredibly flexible. It can be easily scaled up or down with the growth of a company. So if you're experiencing incredible growth, you can easily scale up. A lot of it is done automatically. Maybe if you're shutting down some areas and you need to scale down, that is also possible with EC2 as well. And it uses the Amazon Web Services, AWS. So you're always going to have a high level of reliability and security. Amazon is essentially the leader in all hosting servers across the globe. So there's always a location you'll be able to connect to, and essentially, if one server fails, you know you'll have one to fall back on. It also comes with a clean and easy to use interface for managing instances. You can manage your entire infrastructure online through the EC2 dashboard, which we'll talk about later. All right, so moving on here. So OS and software support. So EC2 supports a number of popular operating systems such as Linux, Microsoft Windows, FreeBSD, and Mac OS. It also has support for a number of other operating systems such as Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, and other Debian-based systems. And this list is also constantly expanding, and Amazon is always updating the amount of operating systems they support. So essentially, if you have an operating system that you want, there's a high likelihood that the EC2 will support it. Users can also select from a wide catalog of software using the AWS Marketplace, and this software is tailored specifically to run on EC2 instances, and it's very compatible, so you'll have no issues using different software. We'll move on to a bit of the user experience here. So this is called the dashboard experience, and essentially this is the user's portal to all things to do with their EC2 infrastructure. So just starting here in the middle, you can see your different resources, and this includes your instances which are running and not running, your placement groups, your different storage volumes, your hosts, and even your IP addresses. In the top right, you can select which server you're running on. So for me, I chose Oregon because I have the best connection there, but they have servers across the globe. So no matter where you're from, no matter what hemisphere, you'll be able to get a good connection. And as well as if one server fails, you'll have multiple backup servers to fall back on. Here in the middle, we can see you can easily launch an instance. So this would be any virtual machine you need or network adapter. You can quickly launch it from here, as well as migrating to a different region in case your region maybe is going down or you don't have the best connection at the moment. You can migrate your whole instance to a different region if you need be. And a great way to see if your region is doing healthy is the service health section, which you can see our Oregon region is operating normally. And you can see all the different zones and the different zone IDs. And this just essentially gives you a good representation of is everything operating as it should be and is everything healthy. Down here on the left, we can see the Elastic Block Store. So this is where you would manage all your stuff from storage. So you can see your different volumes here, snapshots of your different volumes as well, and the life cycle of your current stored information and data. And of course, we also have network and security here, which is a crucial part of any virtual network. You're going to want to make sure your IPs are all configured correctly. You have the security in place that you need in order to have all those connections running smoothly between your different instances. Now, EC2 supports a global infrastructure, which essentially means that, like I said before, instances can be hosted on a wide variety of servers from locations all across the world. This map is taken directly from Amazon's website, and it essentially displays their key servers all over the world, so you can see no matter where you are, you're going to have good coverage and you're always going to be staying connected with relatively low latency. You can also host your instances from different locations at the same time. So say you're here in North America, you could have an instance hosted here, maybe have an instance hosted down in South America, and this would allow for redundancy and fallback. So if one of these servers went down, you could easily move to another if you were hosted on multiple at once. Now, in terms of cost and capacity optimization, EC2 is pay as you go. So you will pay for the exact amount of time you spend working, not for a specific amount of time. So if you spent 53 minutes working, that's how much you'd be paying for. You wouldn't be paying for a whole hour's worth because you didn't spend that much. So it essentially gives you the freedom to work and then stop working when you want to. You can have the freedom to pay for how much you see fit. Another way EC2 keeps costs down is it uses auto scaling, which automatically scales the user instances up or down in order to maximize cost efficiency. Supports EC2 Fleet, which is essentially a system that dictates compute capacity, and this will purchase the best infrastructure model for a user's particular needs. So it will outline what you need, what particular cost you need to get the most bang for your buck and to keep your infrastructure running with the most efficiency. EC2 also hibernates to conserve costs when not in use. So again, this goes back to if you didn't spend the time working, if you stopped working, you're not paying anymore. So you pay as you go, and when you're not working, it will hibernate, save all your data, save your current status, and you'll be able to resume when you see fit. The EC2 storage is pretty complex. You can see this diagram here. We won't go into full detail into the storage today, but essentially the key aspects of the EC2 storage are it has support for Elastic Block Store and Elastic File System, along with other cloud-based storage options. Now, this Elastic Block System provides an easy-to-manage scalable cloud storage that can be accessed via online interface. So this again goes to the key aspect of scalability. The storage can be expanded almost to unlimited. It can also be, you can delete some storage if you need be, if you have too much and the company is shrinking down. Essentially, it's just a very flexible storage system that they have in place, and you can use a variety of different Amazon storage systems. Networking. Now, EC2 supports a virtual network with elastic IP addresses, which essentially allows users to use their own static IPs that only they can use and release. So these IPs are essentially they're the only ones who own them, and this is really good when you're setting up your own network and keeping it secure to just yourself. The network is also low latency and features high packet per second performance, meaning all your devices are going to perform at optimal networking capacity and they're going to have good connections to the servers. And the virtual private cloud the EC2 supports, or VPC for short, is available to ensure the security between instances and the machines. Here are the references used for the images in the presentation.